Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weischadle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weischadle. Doug, does it seem like there's a whole lot of sports to bet on recently? I mean, every night there's something going on. The World Series, basketball, hockey, football every night. It's just been an incredible amount of sports to bet on.
Well, again, you got the World Series that was going on. You had the NBA, NHL starting both up. I mean, we're, maybe a week or two into the season for both of those, and the games have been actually kind of fun to watch, and the NFL is going strong. Yeah, there's so much. NASCAR is finishing up their season.
Yeah, I'm doing a terrible job in betting on NFL, as you can see by my record in the picking the NFL teams in our segment of the show. But, man, I am loving hockey. I'm loving basketball, and it's just been great.
No, it's actually been – I have not tried any hockey bets this year so far. I have to get
hockey,
used to it.
I do the best in. It's weird.
I'm starting to get into the basketball betting, but right now, the first couple of weeks, everybody's still filling each other out. I haven't put too many bets on basketball just yet. Mostly NFL right now because swing of the season here. You know, I had a good weekend. I had a 6-leg parlay winner and also a single game 4-leg parlay winner.
That's great.
So it was kind of interesting to have that kind of happen, but. Show-wise, I did not do well. And,
I have been discovering the single-game parlay, which I've been loving, and I just found out that that's not allowed in Las Vegas, which I'm shocked.
There are a lot of states that don't have single-game parlay yet. They're starting.
I'm
There's
shocked.
a lot of states. It was that kind of a weird thing where sports betting launched in certain states without it, and they have slowly been adding it into. I know Michigan just recently did it not too long ago. I know Indiana is starting to do it. Iowa, I don't know if Iowa has it yet, but yeah, you're right. Nevada doesn't do that
In
stuff.
New Jersey, that's all they're talking about. Single game parlay this, single game parlay that. I finally started looking at it, and no, it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I remember that $1 billion handle month for New Jersey. The parlay handle itself was greater than some other states' total handles.
Oh, okay.
So, people love parlays.
Well, we got a great show for you. We got a Beatin The House segment. We have our Week 9 picks, and hopefully we'll both do better this week than we did last week. And I'm talking with Adam Small from Better Collective and usbets.com. We're going to talk G2E, what he saw there and what he experienced there, and also talk about some new sports betting markets that have emerged in the United States. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Did you know basketball bettors are wired differently than other sports bettors?
Yeah, I always thought I just don't do well with basketball picks. I mean, sometimes I hit and things like that, but that's not my best sport. For some reason, I do well in hockey and football. And baseball. I do better in baseball than basketball.
We now have a brand new basketball survey from the guys at Pickswise.
Okay.
They have found that there are some differences between basketball bettors and the rest of the betting world.
I think basketball betting is so difficult, especially now with the idea of load management. You really have to keep up with who's playing when and how many minutes they're going to be playing. So it's basketball is very challenging for me.
Well, the one thing I noticed, there is about a 5 percentage point difference between basketball bettors and non-basketball bettors or the other bettors out there. So we'll just go through some of the numbers real quick.
Right. Okay.
73% of basketball bettors say winning is a major reason they bet. And 43% say winning money is their most important reason.
I would think those numbers are pretty low. Wouldn't everyone say that? I mean, no one bets to lose, right?
Well, a lot of people want to focus on the entertainment value.
Okay, all right. Well,
but I mean, it's not much of a difference than non-basketball bettors. 67% said winning is a major reason they bet, and 36% said winning money is their most important reason. So not much of a difference there. But there is a little slight difference.
That's strange.
77% of basketball bettors also bet weekly.
If they asked me, 100% is I want to win, and money is 100% important to me.
Well, this one,
So-
the one I just read is kind of a no-brainer. 77% bet weekly of basketball bettors.
Okay.
I mean, there's a game almost every night during basketball season. I'm sure this is almost similar to baseball bettors.
So they're saying is 77 bet at least once a week? Is that what they're saying?
Bet weekly.
Bet. Okay. I'm just
Com-
trying to figure out what weekly means.
It means that probably at least once a week.
Okay, once a week. All right.
Let's see. 35% of basketball bettors average more than $100 per bet
Okay.
versus 28% of the non-basketball bettors.
Okay.
33% of basketball bettors spend more than 2 hours per week on research and analysis. That kind of goes without saying because there's a lot more games to digest before you make a bet.
Again, these numbers are low. I mean, if you're betting and if you're serious about your betting, you would think it'd be more than 33% of people would spend. I would think that number would be higher. People researching what they're betting.
Well,
So
that's
people just throw money without
There's
researching.
a segment out there that doesn't research, and that's always been the case. 83% are more likely to research bets, and 61% view video insights and analysis on a weekly basis.
Well, that became a big business. There's all these new betting organizations and these new news organizations that really do a lot of that stuff.
According to the survey, basketball bettors also play more angles. They are twice as likely to say getting the best odds is important when choosing a sports book.
I can
20% to 11%.
Oh, okay.
And this is just on this survey. That's not necessarily representative of the entire industry, but it's a good sample.
Okay.
More likely to have several betting accounts. 40% have 3 or more U.S.-based accounts, compared to 26% of the non-basketball bettors. See, I thought by now everyone would have at least a couple sports betting apps on their phones. If not casino apps too.
If you're interested in getting the best price, I mean, a lot of betting experts say, you have to shop around and, and get the best price. I mean, it's not only the point spread, but it's also the underlying odds underneath it. And, there's a lot of good organizations that give a good layout of who gives the best odds and things like that. So it's getting easier and easier to shop around because of the information that's presented in some of these websites. But, I think it's always an important thing to look for the best numbers.
And basketball bettors are different demographically. More likely to be male.
All right.
More likely to be under age 45 and more likely to be single.
Oh, okay.
So those are 3 interesting little demographics there. I mean, I would think married men or married people would be betting a lot too, together even.
I have no idea. I just it's one of the male is normal. I would guess the majority of the sports betting public is male. So, but that's not to say that women don't bet. I see a lot of
the female demographic is growing.
Yeah, it's growing and it's great, and I see a lot of women in the sports books, and I know a lot of women. There's a lot of women in sports betting media, which is great. You know? So I think it's growing. I think it's a great thing, and I'm curious to see if these numbers change over time when more and more women get into the sports betting field.
I'm actually very curious to see how the basketball betting numbers compare to baseball betting numbers, because they're almost similar types of amounts of games and everything. There's more games for baseball, more games for basketball than there is football. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see how those compare.
Exit 2.
We all know Connecticut launched their sports betting industry. They launched retail. They launched online. They launched their online gaming. They launched their online casinos. Haven't launched online poker yet.
Yes.
But one of the aspects of the Connecticut gambling expansion bill was the fact that it legalized esports betting.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It's kind of interesting because it's one of the few states that automatically put esports as part of the gambling expansion bill. Not a lot of states have done that.
Yeah, because here in New Jersey, esports betting is almost separate legislation. It was never included in the actual legislation that made sports betting legal. So esports right now is going through the process of getting it legal and everything like that in New Jersey.
Well, HB 6451, which is the bill name, the bill number, whatever you want to call it, means it gives every licensed Connecticut sports betting operator the ability to legally accept wagers on esports competitions. Now, what makes also Connecticut a little different, according to the language in the bill, the accompanying notes and everything, they don't intend to limit the scope of the sports betting options for esports.
Okay.
They're going to have professional and intercollegiate esports events being bet on.
Great.
They do prohibit certain things. Age is one thing. But also people directly involved in esports competitions, athletes, coaches, referees.
That makes sense.
So it's one of the few states, and it was kind of interesting that not a lot of people focused on it. I mean, they're starting to figure it out now that esports is part of it. They haven't described exactly what esports are going to be bet on, but you can bet on esports. They haven't outlined what games.
Okay, all right.
And saying blanket esports, as a title sounds great, but once you get into exactly what events they're going to be betting on, are they going to be betting on individual games? Are they going to be betting on official tournaments? Because there are a lot of collegiate esports tournaments out there, but there are a lot of collegiate esports clubs. I mean, are they going to? I'm assuming it's just the actual tournaments and not just random games.
Well, I think
they're not doing pickup esports games.
More and more states are going to do this. I mean, we just came back from the East Coast Gaming Congress in Atlantic City, and one of the tables there was the Esports Entertainment Group, and they actually had the what were they playing? Football or
they had football?
I don't want to call it. Is it Madden? It was a football game, and it was
Madden.
Amazing. It was Madden, but it gave demonstrations and things like that. So more and more esports are becoming a part of the sports betting landscape, and I think it's great.
I think even in the Northeast, I mean, Jersey's getting there because they're still trying to pass that one bill that was in the assembly for a while there. In the Northeast, where there is a whole bunch of different colleges, the amount of collegiate esports groups out there.
They're getting scholarships. It's shocking. Kids are getting scholarships for esports, which is great. I think it's great, but boy, I wish I grew up in a different time, huh? I don't think I'd get a scholarship for Pitfall or Donkey Kong or anything like that, but it's great.
Well, you even have, what is that, Rush Street Gaming?
Yeah.
Which also just did the deal for the Connecticut Lottery.
Yes.
They have a esports kind of hub, a gaming hub inside their casino now.
Great.
For multiplayer tournaments, all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see if Rush Street actually capitalizes on the esports betting bill or the esports betting section in the bill. They may be one of the first groups out there that actually has an established esports betting platform in the United States. There's not a lot out there. Not even in the UK. I know Pinnacle just created their esports hub, but other than that, I mean, there's not a lot of strictly esports betting platforms. You mentioned Grant Johnson's outfit.
Esports Entertainment Group.
They still haven't yet to launch their platform in Jersey. They're getting through the licensing, I believe, so we'll see what happens there. But again, I think Connecticut may have a leg up in that area over everybody else in the United States, surprisingly.
Exit 3.
Now, we always talk about crypto in this show.
Okay.
It's becoming a mainstay exit for every episode of this, where we have either a crypto corner here or a NFT segment or some kind of digital currency referencing.
I gotta tell you, FTX was all over the baseball playoffs and the World Series. They're everywhere. I mean, they have the badges on the umpires.
That was actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Well, I got a whole bunch of different things going on. There were so many different deals that have happened over the last week or two regarding crypto and NFTs.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of NFTs. I just read, I'm not sure if you're going to talk about it, but poker great Phil Ivey is involved with NFTs now. So everyone's getting into it.
Well, it's spanning the globe, really. I mean, but we'll go through some of the big deals that happened here. Miami Heat. Now, remember they did the deal with FTX to do the naming rights for their arena?
It seems like everyone's doing a deal with FTX, but yes, I remember.
Well, for the Miami Heat home opener, everyone in attendance received a T-shirt with a QR code that unlocked an FTX Arena NFT.
Okay,
Boy,
so
that's a mouthful to say.
So everyone gets a non-fungible token.
No, they got the T-shirt with the QR code.
But if you get the code, you do the code, and what do? You get
some NFT. You get an NFT.
So they get an NFT
if they do it.
Well,
not a lot of people do it.
Why wouldn't they do it?
Well, I mean, a lot of people aren't into NFTs. A lot of people think they're not, worth anything.
Well, but...
all the news stories to the contrary.
Yeah, but why not get it? It's free, right? It's you have to.
Well, you still have to register for.
Well, you have to pay for the game, but you get a T-shirt with a QR code.
You still have to register for
you get an NFT.
You still have to register for FTX. A lot of people don't want to give their information.
Okay.
And also during the home opener, certain individuals in specific sections receive $500 in crypto as well.
Oh wow! Okay. And $500 in crypto, if I understand cryptocurrency,
could be 5,000 tomorrow.
It could go up in value, right?
Or it could go down in value. It's a very volatile market.
But you're getting 500 in crypto. You're not paying.
You're not paying for it. That's the key. So, UFC Hall of Fame inductee Mike Bisping will pair up with Block Asset, which is another NFT platform, to create over 10,000 NFTs.
Wow.
And Block Asset will also be bringing in 3 other Hall of Fame athletes to do even more. So they're doing a Sports Legends series.
Well, my thought was, you don't want to do too many NFTs because wouldn't that bring down the value?
If you can continually create unique NFTs,
you keep creating unique ones, right?
That's where you make your money.
Okay.
The NBA, first of its kind sports partnership with Coinbase. They've never done a crypto sponsorship before.
Okay.
It's not paid in crypto, but it's a crypto sponsorship.
This is the entire NBA, right? It's not a specific
team,
This is
league-wide.
League-wide.
As a matter of fact, the deal gives Coinbase NBA assets, WNBA assets, developmental G League assets, the 2K League assets, and USA basketball assets.
So their name is going to be everywhere, right?
Right.
Okay.
And this is going to be an official cryptocurrency partnership with the league. So this is going to be interesting to watch to see where this goes. It's never been done before, this wide-sweeping a deal.
It's interesting. It should be probably the first of many. I'm waiting for the NFL or baseball or hockey and something like that.
Well, I always like what the NFL does. The NFL does this patient thing where they let the other leagues start experimenting with the types of deals, and then the NFL takes the best parts of every deal and makes their own deal that works for them the best.
Well, right now, without doing anything, the NFL is making so much money. I would think they, to do something brand new that no other league is doing, I'm sure they'd be hesitant because, they're doing so well right now doing what they're doing.
That's why they can afford to be patient.
Yeah.
And last but not least, real quickly, baseball legend Willie Mays had celebrated his 90th birthday with an NFT drop.
Okay, he's into NFTs now, huh?
He did an NFT drop with Nifty Gateway.
Can you get that NFT where he catches the over-the-back catch and that really famous catch? That has to be an NFT, right?
Well, the first one he dropped was called The Making of a Giant.
Okay.
Now, I don't know exactly what that was because I didn't see it.
All right.
And I haven't seen any indications he's going to be doing more, but they say he will be doing more, and all the proceeds are going to go to the Say Hey Foundation.
Great.
Exit 4.
Last but not least, we have a virtual sports story. We don't talk virtual sports too often.
They really grew over the pandemic, but what's going on with virtual sports now? I haven't watched too many since live sports have been back. Is that the correct term? I know there's virtual sports. Is it live sports?
Well, this is a virtual sports betting product.
Live sports came back, I haven't watched too many virtual
This is a virtual sports betting product we're going to be talking about. This is going to go to the sports books.
Okay.
I think you talked in the past about playing virtual horse racing.
Yeah, on BorgataCasino.com in New Jersey.
Well, this is similar to that. As a matter of fact, Borgata does have a deal with this company. So you may see this.
They had horse racing, and I think they had car racing, too.
And also dog racing.
Dog racing, too? I didn't know that. Okay.
Inspired Entertainment, which is the company that makes the virtual sports suite that Borgata uses.
Okay.
They announced a multi-year exclusive contract with Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association, the MLBPAA, to create what they're calling the Home Run Shootout. The deal gives Inspired access to the 8,600 member image and likeness cropping. So they're going to have 8,600 players, former players.
So some of the legends of the games you're going to be virtually seeing, right?
You're going to be seeing them in a home run contest.
That should be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
You're going to see players like, and this was in the press release, Mike Schmidt, Reggie Jackson, Al Kaline.
I think that's great. Players from different generations. I think that's a really good thing. I guess it'll be based on their stats kind of thing?
It's going to be based on stats, but they're also going to be taking some footage and doing some motion capture so that when the virtual representation of the player comes up to do the home run shootout, it's going to look like the player is up at bat with his swing, his little motions that he does in between pitches. They're going to try and make this as realistic as possible. It's a virtual home run hitting competition, and it's going to be licensable to all their sportsbook clients.
Now, is this something that a person just watches? Because, I've played baseball video games, and I controlled the swing of the player, and I controlled,
You don't control any of that.
Nothing. You just watch it, or you bet on it.
You bet on it.
You just watch it.
Well, you can watch it. You can watch it, but but it's for betting. It's for sportsbooks.
All right, but you have absolutely no control over what you're seeing there.
These are shortened virtual home run hitting competitions where you actually can bet on the winning player, the total number of home runs, the score, the under-over of how many home runs they're going to be hitting. So this is an entire suite of betting just based upon a home run hitting contest called Home Run Shootout.
Now, where can people play this?
Well, as soon as sportsbooks start picking it up, you may find it. And, like I said, Inspired does the virtual sports suite for Borgata.
See, that's fun. I would do that. I would definitely do that.
Not out yet.
Okay.
But they also have a similar game, and this is the reason why they did the deal with the MLB PAA. That's a mouthful of initials there.
The Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association.
Right.
Yeah.
They already did one with the NFL PAA, and that's called Legends of Football.
Oh, okay.
So they have made that similar to that game, which seems to have been getting a good response.
All right, I'm going to check that out.
So if you like home run derbies, you're going to love this betting game. Because I remember watching the home run derby on TV, and quite honestly, it was just too long. These are shortened home run derbies, and it's going to be fun to watch this. And it's going to be fun to bet on it too once they're in the sports books.
And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
We got a big show coming up for you. Got a Beatin The House segment. We got our Week 9 picks. I can't believe it's Week 9 already. But right after this, we welcome back Adam Small from Better Collective and usbets.com. He's going to give us a rundown of what he saw at G2E and also give us some news on some new sports betting markets that we could look forward to. So Adam Small's next, right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let BCI Bath Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Our residential bathroom solutions provide the best value on the market, and our customer service is second to none. Our cost-effective BCI Bath Shower family of products has what you need.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom. And it was a great experience the whole way through.
We have the best monthly payment programs in the industry, with payments as low as $68 per month or no interest, no payments for 18 months. For a limited time, be one of the first 100 callers who schedule a free in-home consultation and receive $500 off. Call 1-800-594-9530, 1-800-594-9530. Factory-trained and certified installers made in the USA, and discounts for seniors and military. BCI Bath & Shower, the leader in affordable bathroom products.
Psst. Yeah, you. Come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at Adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at Adamandeve.com.
Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to Drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with Drizzly.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-297-9788. 800-297-9788.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. I am Dave Weischadle. This has been one of the busiest times in the gambling world, with big news happening every week. One of the largest gaming conferences in the world, known as G2E, has just taken place after a year's hiatus, and new states are jumping into the sports betting market. And as always, when we want to get the latest from the gambling world, we talk to our favorite returning guest from Bettor Collective and USBets.com. Adam Small is on the line. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dave. Great to be the favorite.
Oh, no, absolutely. Hey, I think you are the most common guest that we have, the most returning guest. So we should give you a trophy or something. And
I would like that, and I always like coming on.
We always love having you, and especially now you just returned from Vegas and from G2E. And before we get into the big topics of G2E, I want to ask you what it was like again to attend a live gaming conference. I have yet to go back, but my first one's going to be next week when I go to East Coast Gaming in Atlantic City. And I was just wondering how you felt getting back and seeing the familiar faces and interacting in person with everyone there.
Well, it was awesome. I almost never have described a conference as awesome before because usually it's just very routine, right? Like, we go to 5 or 6 of them a year at least, and it's a lot of the same people every time, and it's always nice to see them, but it's also usually very normal to see them, and the conferences are a bit of a grind. You got to do the travel and the hotels, and just everything is a little bit trickier when you're traveling, and this one was just great. I mean, I think just being away from the scene for a couple of years, really 2 years since my last conference, and not seeing a lot of people, but also just not being in that kind of environment. And it's so exciting to get out there, and so much has obviously changed in the industry in the last 2 years. And so being around everything and seeing what's going on, I will say G2E was a lot smaller than it normally is. At probably maximum half the size of a normal year, but I think it was even smaller than that. And the conference hall was quite a bit smaller, and there were a lot fewer people there, and particularly the European contingents were mostly not on site. But despite all that, it was just a great time and a very productive time as well.
What was the general feeling of everyone there at the conference? Was this kind of a feeling like what the hell did we just go through, or was there this excitement to be back and dealing with normal issues again in the gambling world?
You know, I feel like I had a blur of meetings over a few days, a lot of them. And it's not like we didn't talk about COVID and the pandemic at all, but it just felt mostly like the meetings were kind of normal. Like we just got together with people and sat down and talked through whatever's been going on, you know, and talked about what's going on in our lives and, you know, caught up and stuff like that. But it really, I think it was kind of remarkable in its normalness. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously to everyone listening, but there was a mask mandate at the conference as well as a vaccination requirement. So there were, you know, restrictions that made the conference different than it would be in a normal year. And so, you know, we get in meetings and there was a little bit of awkwardness around, well, now that we're sitting down having a meeting, can we take off the masks or whatever? And it's kind of hard to have a conversation in depth with the masks on to begin. So for the most parts, you know, we'd be trying to get off into a room more private or whatever. We actually had a suite rented at the Venetian for this where we could, you know, lay back a little bit more and, you know, have a beer, water, or coffee or whatever, and take off the masks and have like a normal conversation. Because it is strange walking around an expo all day, like trying to have conversations with people with masks on. But other than that, I mean, it kind of actually just made me appreciate the fact that there are like thousands or millions of people around the country and world that have jobs that require them to do that every day, all day long. You know, working in public places or restaurants or whatever. And I'm always just sitting in my office by myself doing whatever I want. So it really made me appreciate what it must be like for all these other people that have to deal with that every day.
Now, I just want to set the stage. I've been referring to it as G2E, but its full title is the Global Gaming Expo. For people out there who aren't familiar with the conference, what is it and why is it so important for this industry?
Well, it's the biggest gambling conference in the U.S. every year. Maybe the biggest in the world. I don't know. I've been to ICE London a bunch of times, and they're similar in hugeness. And G2E is getting bigger, with the U.S. becoming a bigger focal point for a lot of the international companies that do gaming, particularly online gaming. And so G2E has just been getting bigger and bigger. I definitely think it is the most important event of the year, almost unquestioned most important event of the year for anyone who is doing business with a primary focus on the United States. And so it was a real blow to the industry that it didn't happen last year. It also wasn't surprising by, you know, the summer or whatever, when it was clear that the pandemic wasn't going to be a quick thing that was over and no one was worrying about anymore. It became very clear that there weren't going to be large scale business events at all in 2020, really. Yeah. And so we knew it was going to happen. But yeah, I mean, you gotta have events like this because there's got to be something every year where you know basically everyone is going to be, and this is that event. Whereas you're talking about going to the East Coast Gaming Congress in New Jersey, which is a really good event. It's been going on for a long time, but it's very much a regional event. Yeah. It's focused on the New Jersey area. I've been once, actually, I believe the time we met in person was there. Sure. And I'm actually going in December to an event at the Meadowlands. So yeah,
I'll be there. I'll be there. So
you'll be there as well.
I'll be
Great.
there.
Well, I hope to see you there. That's a good one as well, but very much just focused on sports betting. And so the difference with G2E is that it's focused not just on sports betting or on a region, but really just everything in gambling, really worldwide, and especially in the U.S.
So what were some of the big issues that were discussed at this year's G2E?
Well, I didn't spend a lot of time in panels, but I can tell you, just what I found in conversations out there was that there was a lot of talk about what the industry was going to look like as the pandemic actually wound down. And I think it opens eyes about kind of the bubble we're living in the U.S. in a lot of ways where, vaccination rates are pretty high and restrictions are fairly low in most of the country at this time. You can pretty much do most of the stuff that you did before the pandemic, at least to an extent. But in a lot of the world, that's not the case yet still, and they're still figuring out what it's going to be like with the brick and mortar casino experiences, and also just looking at how the rise in online gaming has happened, at the same time that people have not been able to go to brick and mortar as much, and what that means for the long-term trajectory of the industry. Like, is this a permanent shift or a temporary one? And what are the issues that we're going to have to reconcile relating to this? A big one that certainly comes up a lot in my circles is responsible gambling, and how people being home all the time and having less to do, and probably also being quite a bit more stressed out or having other mental health issues related to the pandemic may have likely led to a rise in problem gambling, and what the industry's responsibilities are there to mitigate that kind of thing. There have been some high-profile issues with this, particularly overseas, but not only overseas. There was an event recently in New Jersey, actually, pretty near where you are, where a guy jumped out of a building, a poker player, and I don't want to say he was necessarily a problem gambler, but he was in gambling among other issues in his life, and I think the industry has to have its eyes wide open about how these things are going to become more prevalent as more and more people are gambling and have more access in different ways to gambling, and needs to be focused on mitigation.
Well, the great thing that about G2E is the American Gaming Association is very much involved with that. They have this great program for responsible gambling, and I'm sure it was brought up by Bill Miller, who was speaking there, correct?
Yeah, I understand it was. I didn't catch that speech, but I did meet up with a young lady named Brianne Dowra, who was working for the AGA, I believe, for a while in the responsible gambling kind of segment of what they do. And she's now with a group called Epic Risk Management that's based out of the UK, but she's in DC, and talked to her quite a bit about this and came to understand some of the efforts they're making to educate policymakers and also stakeholders here in the U.S. And what I really like about her approach, and I think the AGA and plenty of others that care passionately about this issue, is I think that there's kind of like this idea in a lot of people's heads that people who care about problem gambling or are, activists or advocates around that issue are anti-gambling, and thereby are kind of like our adversaries to people who are, making money in this industry. And I think that's very much not the case these days. I think we are all on the same team of understanding that gambling is a thing that's going to be there, and trying to do it in ways that don't cause harm to people. And that's tricky because the industry is, by its nature, something that is financially dangerous to a lot of people. And we've got to work together and communicate well with each other, and coordinate on ideas and plans that we actually execute to mitigate this harm. Because what you never want to have happen, what nobody, whether they're a CEO of a major gambling firm or an activist or just a person who reads about it in the news, you don't want to hear about someone losing their family or their life over gambling debts or gambling losses, and we all want to do everything we can to prevent that kind of thing from happening.
You know, one of the other hot topics in the gambling industry that I've run across in my other life as a gaming attorney is cashless gaming on the floors. And I'm wondering if you heard a lot about that at G2E. I mean, recently I talked with the president of Resorts World Las Vegas, Scott Sabella, and that was a source of pride for him that, you know, my gaming floor is cash free and cashless. It's the wave of the future. Did you get the sense from G2E that this was the wave of the future and that's where the casino industry is headed?
Absolutely. I don't know a ton about it, but I definitely believe firmly that it's the way of the future. And I think it's always like, you know, there's some kind of basic questions you can ask about a situation like that should lead to the answers there. Like, would it be better and easier for people if they didn't have to carry cash in casinos? I think the answer is an obvious yes, right? And like, would the customers prefer to not have to carry cash? I think the answer is an obvious yes. Like, do we like having our wallets full of bills when we're in there, or have to carry around a money clip, or, you know, risk getting robbed somewhere when we're walking around, or you know, going through the airport and having to explain why you have a bundle of cash in your pocket, or whatever it is? Nobody wants to be dealing with all this stuff, and so it's clearly a customer preferred experience to not have to carry cash. I think the casinos also will find that they prefer this over time, and I think that's where we're all headed. I did get over to Resorts World, which is a great property, by the way. I did not gamble there, so I didn't get to experience how the casino works. I went out to dinner with some people, but I think they're ahead of the game, and I think it's a smart thing that differentiates the experience there from other properties right now, and I think it's going to be really good for them, for their business.
You know, the greatest thing about cashless gaming is the fact that in my basement, I have a bunch of these plastic coin buckets from these old Atlantic City casinos that I got them for free, and I was about ready to throw them out a couple years ago, but then someone said, you know, you can get $50 a piece from them because, you know, you have they don't have those anymore. You just don't have the plastic coin buckets anymore. But I'm very curious, more and more as the months go on here, I'm also hearing about cryptocurrency. Are you hearing any about that in G2E? Because more and more as the months go on, I'm not sure if state legislatures are ready to jump into that field, but I've heard from a lot of casinos that they're looking at it very closely. Have you heard anything like that from G2E?
Well, crypto definitely came up a lot while I was out there, but more just because I think the people that I know and people in this industry in general are probably more likely to be invested in it or involved in it somehow than probably quote unquote normal people out there in the world. But I myself, you know, full disclosure, I'm interested in crypto as well and invested in some coins and things like that. But yeah, I think that actually having it in a regulated gambling environment is tricky. I'm not sure if there are any around the world that accept it as payment yet. I know that there are some offshore gambling sites, like in poker sites, that do accept it as payment. But as far as actual regulated sites, I can see what the issue would be. That, you know, there's a lot of concerns about things like money laundering in relation to online gambling. Some of it, sometimes I tend to think, is more based on just like kind of buzzwordy things that politicians are worried about or using as talking points. But I also think there's some legitimate concerns there, particularly with something like online poker, where, you know, you could theoretically lose money to someone else as a means of paying them for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that there's still a lot of concerns around using crypto in regulated gambling and how that would be dealt with from like a financial regulatory standpoint. So I'm not really expecting it all that soon. But that said, everything in crypto is moving at the speed of light right now. And it might just be that the solutions get found pretty quickly, that there's some sort of way to create like an intermediary solution where the crypto converts into some kind of casino currency or something like that, and that's more kind of monitorable or whatever. I'm just not sure. But as of now, I think we're still a little bit away.
Now, certainly one of the biggest stories in the gambling industry is the growth of sports betting, and a lot has occurred between the last two live G2Es, especially with regard to deals being made in the sports betting industry. Between the last two G2Es, not only have professional sports teams made deals with sportsbook operators, but college teams have made deals with sportsbook operators. And I know the Arizona Cardinals owner Michael Bidwill spoke at the conference. When it comes to professional leagues and collegiate leagues, did you get a sense of what we can expect from the future with regard to sports betting when it becomes when leagues become more involved like they have been?
Yeah, I think the way it is right now, we're already kind of starting to see a little bit of the blowback on just how freely everyone has kind of taken the industry's money over the last couple of years. And just backtracking a little bit on what you were saying, since it's been 2 years since the last conference, just remarkable to me is that when I was there in 2019, October 2019, I think Pennsylvania had just launched online sports betting on a couple of sites. And that was the first major market that had opened outside of New Jersey. I think there might have been like a little bit of something in West Virginia at the time, and obviously Delaware, but it was really the first market of any consequence that had launched outside of New Jersey. And talk about how a year is a lifetime in this industry. Between then and this G2E, I think like 20 states or so have launched online gaming of some sort. I mean, states all over the country. We're talking, Wyoming and Virginia and Michigan and Indiana and Colorado and Tennessee and New Hampshire and Oregon. And the list just goes on, and that doesn't even include the states that have added retail sports betting and things like that. So it is pretty remarkable how much happened in a 2-year period, and I think it's worth reflecting on just how much has changed in this industry.
Well, speaking of sports betting, we have a bunch of new states jumping into the sports betting market, and one of the biggest stories in the sports betting industry for the last couple of months is Arizona, and they just completed their first full month of sports betting. And as far as the markets go, how did they do, and were the numbers what everyone expected they would be?
It looks like a great market so far. I mean, it's only a limited number of operators so far. There's only 6 or 7 in there, I think. Maybe a little bit more than that. Most of the bigs are already in there. The BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars. The guys that are usually out there spending the most money, and a couple others are in there as well. And I think it's going to be a very good market. I think I looked it up. I wasn't sure quite how big Arizona was population-wise when that bill had passed there, but I think it's the 14th most populous state, or right around that, which makes it certainly a major enough market to matter in this space. It's not altogether different from like a Virginia or North Carolina or even Michigan. They're all kind of in that same range. And the way it's played out so far, it seems very smooth, very solid. The growth is good. From our business perspective, it's been a really, really good market so far. So we're impressed with what we've seen there. It's definitely on par with kind of what we were seeing early on in Tennessee or Virginia when those states launched, where, things went pretty smoothly and the growth was pretty quick, and the states seemed to be cooperating with the industry's desire to grow, and I think it's going to be a really good market.
A couple of months ago, I spoke with the head of gaming from the PGA Tour and NASCAR, and they were both thrilled about Arizona. They thought that was going to be huge for their industry. Do you think Arizona can be a top 10 market in the U.S.?
I think it is already. Long term, in terms of just, it's already top 10 in terms of its importance in the U.S. Of course, when California and Texas happen, and they will happen someday, it might be 10 years from now, but when those states happen, they're going to kind of trump everything else by a lot. New York is already poised to become by far the most important sports betting market in the U.S. as soon as online happens there, which is going to be relatively soon. Those big states really have the potential to dwarf everything else. And Florida's this whole other matter that because they're going to have a single operator monopoly, sort of, depending on how everything plays out in the courts. With Hard Rock really leading the charge there, it's going to be a bit different. But I mean, coming back to Arizona, I think that you can look at them as kind of a third tier market, but understanding that the first tier is really 3 or 4 states, and the second tier is another 5 or 6 states, and they're probably right below that. So maybe right around 10th or just below at the end of the day, and probably going to hold on to that importance, considering how many really important pro sports teams and college sports and major sporting events are out there. That's where the I think college football national championship many years is in Arizona. It just seems like the Phoenix area in general is always becoming more important in sports. It's always moving towards being a bigger metro with a lot of focus on it from a national sports perspective. And so I expect Arizona to be a big player for a long time.
Now, I live in New Jersey, and I also have an office in Massachusetts. And recently I was driving through Hartford, Connecticut, and I saw a billboard that I never thought I'd see, and that was from the Sugar House Sportsbook in Connecticut. Right now, Connecticut has retail sportsbooks in 2 of the casinos, Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods, and now Connecticut went live with Sugar House, FanDuel, and DraftKings online sportsbooks. What can we expect from sports betting in Connecticut?
Yeah, actually, the day we're recording here, which is Tuesday, October 19th, is the full launch day for sports betting in Connecticut. So we're really talking right as it's going live. There's only going to be a handful of operators because they had a limited license and kind of tribal situation there that the compromise that was made was that there could only be a certain number of operators, and it looks like all we're going to have is FanDuel, DraftKings, and Sugar House, which is contracted with the lottery. And so there are also going to be, I guess, a couple of operators associated with the tribal casinos. I believe Foxwoods is going online as well. Yep. But I think that what we're looking at is a fairly small but very well off state. So probably, customers are going to be pretty high value from the operator perspective in general. Just a handful of operators, and they're going to have a full suite of options. They're going to have online casino, online sports betting, presumably poker at some point. We'll see. I think it's going to be a pretty decent state, just given, granted that it's not a very big state. But I think as I always look at the rankings of states by population and by per capita income, and I'm pretty sure Connecticut is number 1 in per capita income. Yeah. So it should be pretty relevant overall because it does have enough people to, just in those, I guess, mostly New York suburbs to be relevant.
Well, you mentioned New York. Do you think Connecticut getting mobile sports betting and sports betting will motivate New York to move quicker with their online sports betting? I mean, for years, I've been constantly hearing about people from New York City going over to Jersey to place their sports books, and New York is losing money because of it. Now there's Connecticut, where New Yorkers can go just as easily as New Jersey. Could this make New York move a little faster in their implementation of online sports betting?
I don't know. I think it is very much a true statement. I think it's well known that New Jersey has been taking a lot of money out of New York with this industry for years, and I think it's fair to say that Connecticut will also be taking some money out of New York. I mean, all you really have to do is just look at all the people that spend time in both states regularly, right? Like, how many people live in Connecticut but work in New York, and same with living in New Jersey but working in New York. And maybe you would be placing those sports bets on your phone while you're in the city during the day, but instead you have to wait till you're at home in New Jersey in the evening because that's the only option. And same with Connecticut. So kind of like logistical things, they're losing money that way, but I'm sure there are also the people that are more into betting that actually go across the state border just to do betting. I know that that's a thing that happens sometimes. So I think it is something that should motivate New York. That being said, the thing about New York is it's just such a big state with such a huge budget And this is still just like a pretty small, thing in the scheme of things for them. So I don't like to overestimate our own importance to a state like New York.
Yep.
I think it's coming pretty soon. I think that everything going on in New York's been really interesting. Seeing the list of bids that came in for sports betting groups, and just, so that your audience understands, there's a pretty complicated set of rules around who can operate sports betting in New York, and they have kind of these two distinct classes. They have what's called a platform provider and then a gaming operator, like a gaming brand. And if you're a platform provider, you're providing like the software and the data and all this stuff. And then you can have multiple brands that are kind of like skins that, operate on top of that platform. And so you have these bids coming in from like multiple companies together. Like, for example, there was a bid with FanDuel as the operator, but then FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM all being brands that would operate on that platform. So you might have a situation where BetMGM and DraftKings are operating on FanDuel's platform in New York, which is really strange. But 6 of these bids came in, and a couple of them were just for single companies, and other ones were for platforms where several brands would be on top of them. There were at least 2 of these really kind of quote-unquote super bids where a whole bunch of well-known brands were all on the same bid. So we know there are going to be at least 2 licensed, but there could be more than that. There's no maximum. So things could really shake out in a number of different ways in New York. And when it does, there's going to be at least a few pretty big and well-known and reputable sports betting brands there, and it's going to really shake things up for sure for both Connecticut and New Jersey as that need to cross the border goes away finally entirely from New York City. I mean, I guess Pennsylvania closed off a while ago, and New Jersey, the people going across from Pennsylvania to New Jersey closed off a while ago, and then New York to New Jersey is going to close off, and New York to Connecticut is going to be a short-lived thing. And really, I mean, it's going to end up with most of New England having legal, regulated options for sports betting really soon.
Another state that started retail sports betting was Louisiana, and as we're talking right now, there's only one place to place a bet in Louisiana, and that is the Native American Paragon Casino and Hotel. I mean, commercial properties are still waiting for their rules and regulations to be handed down so they can start their sports betting activities. What can we expect from Louisiana, and is mobile sports betting in their future?
Yeah, it's in their very near future, and I think by the time this airs, the situation might have even changed there, because I got notice that at least one major company is going to be soft launching before the end of this week.
It was Caesars, right? Caesars?
Caesars, yeah, came out and said that they're going to launch. They're going to do a soft launch by the weekend, most likely. So. It's definitely a situation that's in flux. We don't know entirely who all the brands are going to be there, and who's getting what positioning and so on and so forth. But I would say it's a very fast-moving situation, and probably by sometime in November there should be multiple brands operating online statewide sports betting in Louisiana, or at least mostly statewide. I can never quite remember how it all shook out there, but for a while there was a regulation in place that certain parishes might have it and certain ones would not. And parishes, for those who don't know, in Louisiana are basically Louisiana's version of counties, because Louisiana is a little bit different in pretty much every way than the rest of the country. And so in certain parishes, they would be opting out of sports betting. So it creates an entire new sort of geo-compliance need in that state that we haven't had in other states, but probably one that companies in the industry are now up to the task of handling. And so we'll see how that all shakes out. But for the most part, around the state of Louisiana, people should have access to a number of brands really soon.
And one last state I want to ask you about, and you mentioned before, was Florida. Hopefully they're all done with all their lawsuits right now with regard to sports betting. What will we expect from sports betting in Florida in the near future? I mean, are we looking at something very quick, and are we looking at something online as well?
I think it's a mess, and I think there will be more lawsuits, and who knows how long this is going to be stuck in court. But I did see that news that a couple of the lawsuits got thrown out earlier this week. And it's really interesting. I mean, there are clearly a number of parties that legitimately and honestly believe that they're right and have very different opinions than each other about what can be done here. And so it's highly consequential. It's a state with, 20 million people, maybe more than that at this point. I believe it's the third biggest, even more populous than New York now. And also, of course, there's a ton of tourism to Florida all the time. So a lot of opportunities to have customers generating a lot of revenue in that state. And I think that it's very much up in the air what's going to happen there. But as of now, the way it looks is that Hard Rock is going to have basically a monopoly over everything with sports betting in Florida. And how they use that, I guess, remains to be seen. I will say that to date, Hard Rock has not had a lot of success in New Jersey, where they're operating now. They're definitely basically an also-ran, probably not even making enough money to really even be taking their business all that seriously up there. But in Florida, if they own the entire market, it's going to be a different matter.
Yeah.
And I know that they brought in a number of really talented people, a lot of them formerly of the Stars Group, who came over as the management team either earlier this year or last year. I think it was earlier this year, and have really reshaped their entire operation. And it just remains to be seen. Are they going to be able to turn it around in a way that just running their own stuff in the state is going to be the best option, or would they rather be forcing other people to pay some huge fees to them to operate in the state under their monopoly? So I think they have some options, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But the first step is definitely just the courts and all the tribal stuff and figuring out if they're even going to be allowed to operate.
We don't have a lot of time left, but I got to ask you, I mean, here in New Jersey, we have all these sports books, but they also have online casinos attached to them. Do you think we're going to see more and more of that in other states? I mean, it seems like states want to allow sports betting. However, they really don't want online casinos in their state. Do you think we're going to see more and more online casinos moving forward?
In a word, yes, but I'm not sure quite how soon. I see varying opinions around the industry. Some people think it's going to pick up really quickly. Others are very much not so sure. It has been very clear that politically it's a challenge to get online casino legislation passed in a way that it's not as much of a challenge to get sports betting passed. They're both a challenge, without a doubt. But sports betting, as the leagues have kind of changed their stance on all this, and the sports teams and leagues and, powerful associated interests in major sports and media and stuff like that have gotten behind all this, it's been a lot easier to kind of grease the wheels politically to get this stuff done. With online casino, some of those same elements are there. Certainly the same companies often benefit from it, but there's just not as much popular interest and political interest in going that route. And what I think is going to happen is, in certain states, we're going to get to a point where, sports betting revenue is not growing as much as it was anymore. And it's still growing rapidly, even in New Jersey, where you just had the first month ever with $1 billion in handle reported in September. So we're definitely not anywhere near done growing. But if we get in a situation in a state like Virginia, or certainly a state like Illinois really comes to mind quickly to me, where it seems like revenue is plateauing a bit on sports betting, and they realize there are still all these budgetary holes to fill, because there always are, then they won't be able to legalize sports betting this time, because they already did, and it's already legal, and it's already part of what they're factoring in. So online casino could be the next thing to happen to kind of help them get more revenue to pay for all the stuff they're always doing. And so I do think it will grow. I think states like Illinois and Indiana will, eventually start more seriously considering it. And some of these other states that have just legalized sports betting as a standalone product. But I don't think we're ever going to reach a time where it's just like part of a standard suite of things that that gets offered in every state. I think it'll be always something that is less widely available than online sports betting.
Adam, we're running out of time, but can you give out your websites where we can keep up with all the gambling and sports betting news that seems to be breaking every day?
Of course, yeah. If you're in New Jersey, check out njonlinegambling.com. We cover the New Jersey market really in depth. And just around the country, usbets.com and sportshandle.com, we are covering basically every facet of the sports betting and casino industry here in the U.S. If you're interested in seeing how this industry is growing and changing from a business perspective, as well as from just an interested follower perspective, those sites are really great. And I appreciate you listening and following.
Adam Small from usbets.com and Bettor Collective, as always, thank you for coming on and giving us your insight into the biggest gambling stories out there. Always great to have you on, so please come back soon.
Yep, thank you.
Stick around. More Turnpike Sports right after this. We'll get back to the show in a few moments, but I just wanted to take some time and tell everyone about Bean Genius, the smart specialty coffee subscription service. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country. They feature over 2,000 specialty coffee blends, all at your fingertips at beangenius.com. Here's how it works. Head on over to beangenius.com and take their palate profiler test to find out what coffee best fits your taste. Then select from a variety of subscription plans. Every subscription comes with free shipping, and delivery can even be scheduled for once or twice each month. And based upon your review of each coffee blend you try, Bean Genius actually learns your individual taste preferences and then suggests future coffee blends for you. And now you can get 10% off your Bean Genius subscription when you use our promo code PIKE at checkout. Bean Genius offers a variety of subscription plans to suit any coffee lover's needs. Subscribe with Bean Genius today and start enjoying some of the best tasting coffee around. And save 10% off your coffee plan with promo code PIKE.
Attention seniors with Medicare. This is an important announcement. Did you know you may qualify for a monthly Social Security rebate? Did you know you may qualify for a $0 monthly premium? That's right. You may qualify to get $135 added back to your Social Security check each month. Just call the Medicare benefits line to get your options. It's a free call. You may also qualify for $0 premiums, dental coverage, vision coverage, hearing coverage, and prescription drug coverage. With this type of plan, you don't need Medicare supplement insurance. Call now because you deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits, including a rebate to your Social Security check each month. Agents are standing by with free information regarding Medicare benefits. It's a free call with no obligation, but it could mean big savings for you. Call the Medicare benefits line now to see if you're eligible for a Social Security rebate.
Call 800-574-6770. 800-574-6770.
Psst. Yeah, you. Come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at Adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts.
It's a casino. People gotta win sometime.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a giant, colorful check to deposit.
Beatin The House is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Slots, table games, live dealer games, everything you love about Atlantic City and Vegas, all online at BetMGM. Don't wait. Join in the fun now. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Grab a lion's share of the fun at BetMGM.com. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to this week's edition of Beatin The House, where we talk about the casino wins, the slot wins, bad beats in poker. We got Keno, lottery, basically any kind of jackpot that's going on in the gaming industry in one way, shape, or form. We are going to talk about it here.
You know, since we started doing this segment, I've been going back to the casinos more and more often, and I'm now more aware of some of the slots that you've been talking about. I saw the there was one about a drum. What was it?
Dancing Drums Explosion.
Dancing Drum. Yeah, I saw that.
No. Dancing Drums Explosion.
There are so many different versions
There's a
of
Dancing Drums
Drum
out there.
Yeah, no, I didn't know there was that many versions of Dancing Drum, but I'm starting to see all the slots that you're talking about here.
Well, we're going to start off going to Paris.
All right.
Not the city.
The casino, Vegas, right?
Paris, Las Vegas
right.
Casino. We have a lucky card player.
All right, great. Card player.
Hitting a progressive jackpot at the Paris, Las Vegas. He was playing, it's a she.
Okay.
She was playing Mississippi Stud for about 5 minutes and cashed in on the $834,000 mega jackpot.
Right after 5 minutes, huh?
Playing for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Wasn't even going to play.
Good 5 minute worth of work there.
She didn't even go to the casino to play. She was there for a wedding and she was waiting, so she decided to sit down and play the game.
See, that's the lure of those things, the slot machines. You know, that you have a very comfortable
seat
in front of you.
Mississippi Stud.
Well, even the table games, they have very comfortable seats. They're always comfortable, and you're sitting there. You might as well do something. Either you're sitting at a table or a slot. You know, it's great.
Well, according to Caesars, which owns Paris, Las Vegas, the progressive jackpot is linked to all the Caesars Nevada properties. And it was one of the largest linked table networks in the nation. So this made it a very unique progressive payout. It's all of Nevada, not just Vegas. You know, like how Stations Casino does their bad beat jackpot,
yeah,
and all the Stations poker rooms get it?
Yeah.
This is not just their properties, it's all their properties in the state.
Great. Wow.
So,
wow. Boy, that is a great mega jackpot.
Hey, a 5 minute investment of my time. If I can get $834,000.
Did it?
She no.
She
no.
Yeah.
Did not say how much the bet was.
Huh.
Which is unusual. Usually they say it, but
5 minutes. That's great. Good for her.
Now we're going to go overseas. We're going to go overseas and online to the Betfair Casino. And here's another game that's based on a TV show. Big Time Gaming's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lived up to its name. According to the press release from Betfair, a 80-cent bet, and I'm translating this into American money, an 80-cent bet, which was 70 cent euros, I guess. I don't know how you could say 70 cent euros.
Is it a pound?
No, it's a euro.
It's a euro. Euro?
Yeah.
Okay.
80-cent bet resulted in $1.2 million payout.
Wow. And this is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game.
The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The official name is the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Mega Pays.
Is that even still on the air? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
It's huge overseas.
Okay.
It's still on ITV. They launched a new version of it for the European market.
And what publicity they get when someone wins at their game, huh?
Listen to this. The current amount that won there, the 1.2 million or the 1.036 million euros, is a 1.48 million % increase relative to the bet. They actually did the percentage increase between the bet and the final amount that came out.
Hey, great.
I've never seen a company do that. Actually go that one extra yard where they do the actual how much the payout was versus the bet.
See, now I'm going to be looking for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in this country, either Atlantic City or Philadelphia or any casino I go up to, or in New England or something like that.
Well, you actually may find it on Stardust because that used to be the Betfair casino in the United States.
Online?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out.
This was an online jackpot.
Oh, it was online. Okay. Yeah. Oh, all
That's
right.
why I said we're going overseas and online.
Oh, okay. Now I will check it.
Well, according to this is a, let's see, the game is made by Big Time Gaming, and it is the let's see. First time since September of 2020 that a seven-figure jackpot had been paid out. So it's been over a year since the last big payout. This was interesting. I went to the company website, and in their media kit, they had this statement: "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Megaways is also the most perfect Twitch stream game, as it allows from advanced action commentary."
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, if you ever see those guys who do play the slots on Twitch or on YouTube, people watch you play, and then they talk about the reels and what's going on. And this game is set up, I guess, to be something like that for the Twitch streams. I'm not a big slot watcher on Twitch streams.
By the way, I can't find it online in New Jersey. So,
well, there you go.
So you know, in Stardust, right? Okay.
Well, keep an eye out for it. Maybe
I will. No, definitely, I'm going to keep an eye out for it.
But again, the Twitch stream thing was kind of weird to put that into a media kit. So maybe it's also for slot tournaments too, where you can stream it. Who knows? Before we get into some other jackpots, we got a couple lottery ones and a Atlantic City one to talk about too. IGT. We always talk about the Wheel of Fortune games.
Yeah, no, that's a big one. I always say Wheel of Fortune, Monopoly, and Divine Fortune are always the big progressive games for me, anyway.
Well, Wheel of IGT, the International Game Technology, the maker of the Wheel of Fortune brand games,
okay,
did a press release for their September wins because they had 4 massive jackpots in September. We talked about all 4.
Okay.
But it was very unusual for them to have 4 in 1 month on the Wheel of Fortune games. September 11th, the Wheel of Fortune player got $1.35 million, playing the Wheel of Fortune Triple Red Hot Sevens at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. September 14th, $2 million. Wheel of Fortune Gold Spin Deluxe Triple Stars. There's another one I never heard of until I just actually read that. At Gold Strike Casino Resort in Tunica, Mississippi. September 16th, $1.058 million playing Wheel of Fortune Triple Red Hot Sevens at Atlantis Casino Resort Spa in Reno. And on September 19th, the Wheel of Fortune slots player won $1.644 million playing the Wheel of Fortune Pink Diamond at Resorts Casino in Atlantic City.
I like the fact that they're spread out all across the country. You know, it's not just in Atlantic City or in Las Vegas. It's in Mississippi. It's in Reno. It's in, the other one, twos are in Vegas or Atlantic City. But I'm glad it's like spread out across the country.
I'm always impressed with the variety of the Wheel of Fortune brand games because there's so many different ones out. I can't keep track of all of them. Every time we have a Wheel of Fortune jackpot, it's not the same game.
Yeah, I know. I see a lot of them online, and it's almost confusing which one to play. Which one's the best one.
Well, I ended the little summary of September action for Wheel of Fortune in Atlantic City, and we're going to stay in Atlantic City for the next jackpot. We're going to Harrah's, Atlantic City.
Okay.
Now,
at Harrah's. I was just at Harrah's
for ECGC.
Yeah.
East Coast Gaming Congress for people following along here. According to the Division of Gaming Enforcement in New Jersey, I haven't seen a press release yet or a story on this yet. A $1 million jackpot was won on October 11th playing IGT. Here's IGT again. Playing IGT's Game King multi-poker video poker machine. So no indication on what the denomination of the bet was or how long the person was playing.
Or how they won it, right?
Yeah. Nothing. No information whatsoever. But just so people know, if you're curious, you go to the New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement website under their Slots Laboratory tab, and anyone can access this.
That's what they call it? Slots Laboratory?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's where they do the licensing, the testing, all that stuff.
Wow. It's an actual laboratory, huh?
Well, they have to do it to get the slots approved. There's a listing there of jackpots, and it's updated almost weekly. Certainly every month. And I got some numbers, especially for casino jackpots. And they make the notations as to where the jackpots are. It's any jackpot over $50,000 they record. Anything under that, they kind of don't, really follow along, I guess.
It's not that important?
I guess not. But last 30 days in New Jersey, this is Atlantic City casinos only, 103 jackpots happened. $9.975 million was paid out.
Wow.
In the last 30 days.
Huh, okay.
Year to date, 1,167 jackpots there. 1,167.
Now, like I said, when you say jackpot, you mean
$50,000
over $50,000.
Resulting in $190.22 million payouts. Total payouts year to date. And year to date, there were 3 jackpots of $1 million. We just talked about 2 of them. The other one happened back in, I believe it was January or February of this year. But it's actually kind of interesting to see if you actually dissect the spreadsheet that they have, you can actually see which games continue to pay out really well because they make a notation of the casino, whether it's online or retail. They do the most of the time they have a denomination of what the bet was. They have the maker and they have the game.
So if you're a slot player and you want to go to Atlantic City, it gives you kind of a blueprint of the hot spots.
Well, it depends.
That's how I'd use it.
See, the one thing I found interesting, they have the online sites listed here, but I guess that's because of the AC licenses.
Sure.
So you don't even have to go to Atlantic City. If you can take a look at and, parse out the online casinos and which games are paying out what, you actually don't even have to leave your couch.
Well,
you pull the spreadsheet off your computer.
It's a good roadmap.
You get your phone out, you start playing.
If you bet with the trends and you want to see where the trends are leading you, I mean, it's a really good resource. I'm sure it wasn't created for that, but, it'd be something useful for a bettor.
Well, we're going to head over from the casinos now to the lotteries.
All right.
We got 2 lottery stories we're going to hit. Arizona Lottery. We have a completely anonymous family has won the $75.2 million Mega Millions drawing last week. Completely anonymous. It's a married couple and the wife's brother. They know that much.
Well, I know some states, you're not required by law to put your name out there. So there are other states that, you have to give your name out.
I know there's a bunch of states like that. Yeah. So, but these are anonymous. They didn't give their names out, but they got their $75.2 million. They chose the lump sum payment, and this was interesting. The installment option would have given them $108 million instead of the full, the full amount that they got. $75 million. That was before taxes. They took the lump sum. They still haven't paid taxes on it yet. Okay. The lump sum is lower than what the actual lottery winning amount was.
Sure.
If they did the other thing, it would be $108 million.
Sure.
They took the lump sum, quit their jobs.
Okay, that's what I do.
What they're going to be doing is they're going to travel, but continually buy lottery tickets. Their plan is to continue to buy lottery tickets.
Sure, why not?
They were doing $60 a week in lottery tickets before they won,
and it paid off.
Hey, if they can afford doing $60 a week, a lot of people can't do that.
Well, they can afford it now.
They can definitely afford that now. I was surprised this was the second time only a Mega Millions jackpot was awarded in Arizona. And the previous one in Arizona was a massive $414 million win for somebody back in June 9th of 2020.
Wow.
So only 2 Mega Millions jackpots awarded in Arizona. Congratulations to both of them. Last story is a Michigan lottery story. We have a Michigan man who does not normally play lottery games was talked into buying a ticket by the clerk.
I guess you always should listen to the store clerk.
Well, it's kind of interesting. It was a ticket for the Lucky for Life game.
Okay.
And according to the man, Bruce, he gave his name. I'm just say Bruce, from Westland, Michigan, was talking to the clerk at Hunter and Wayne Liquor in Westland when the other man made a suggestion to go ahead and buy a lottery ticket. He said it was your lucky day, Bruce. You should give this a try.
Wow. Okay. Hey, good for him.
So he took 5 quick picks for the Lucky for Life game.
Well, look, doesn't the store get a chunk of that too, or get a small percentage of the win?
Well, they didn't say how much the store got in this, but yeah, they do get an incentive. And this was the interesting part of the story is the store called them after the drawing and said, "We think you won this."
Yeah, there must be some software that that says, I mean, in the news, you always see, a lottery ticket was sold in such and such a town in this state and things like that. So it must be registered, and they must have notified the store, or I wonder if the store has some kind of notification system that pops up onto their computer system.
There are some systems out there that when a ticket is purchased, the person buying the ticket's not known, but the time the ticket was purchased and what they purchased was, and if the store clerk knew this guy was in at this time and bought this many, and it fell into that range, they were probably calling all around.
Yeah, they can probably sync up. I'm sure they have cameras in their store where it's time coded.
Yeah,
and they can probably see when the winning ticket was bought and time coded with the cameras and see who bought it.
The lottery systems are so complicated, but they are so complete with the record keeping.
Just look at the news. Like I said, they know what town a ticket was purchased in.
Well, no word on how much the store got for it, but he got his $25,000 a year for life.
Wow, that's great.
So he's going to go. He's retired anyway. He's going to be retiring soon, he said. So I would assume with $25,000 a year for life,
that's a good retirement plan.
He can actually start taking care of everything. Oh, and just so you mentioned the incentive from the stores, the last story we did, the Arizona Lottery, the store that sold the ticket got a $50,000 incentive for selling the ticket.
There you go.
And that's it for this week's Beatin The House. Keep on the press releases coming to us, info@turnpikesportsradio.com. The more you send, the more we talk about. So keep those winners coming in.
Our Week 9 NFL picks are coming up, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Now that we're home more than ever, we need to feel safe. Call it a sign of the times or the world we now live in. What do you want to keep safe? The people in your life? What do you want to protect? Your possessions, the things that belong to you, the things that you've worked hard for. Wouldn't it be nice to have tested, trusted 24/7 protection? Peace of mind, real protection that's always there for you and your whole family? Well, now you can with one of our state-of-the-art home security systems. Everyone thinks their home is safe until the unexpected happens. Help protect your home and loved ones today with the affordable next generation in home security. To help keep your family and property safe, call 1-800-520-4068 now. Representatives are standing by to assist you. That's 1-800-250-4068. 1-800-520-4068.
This week's Turnpike Sports Pro Pick segment is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's Pro Pick segment for Turnpike Sports. This week we're using the Borgata Sports lines. And for everyone out there, we are using Tuesday's lines, so while we're taping this.
Always check the lines before you place them.
They will always change,
Yep.
especially with all the injuries happening. I know the Titans lost a big player. The Bucks, the New Orleans Saints lost their quarterback.
It's been
things
terrible.
are changing. And you know what? If you want to wait till game time or closer to game time, that's fine. There's a lot of bet now, bet later kind of things out there you can take a look at. But
I got to tell you, I got some really good numbers early in the week. There's something to be said for betting early in the week. I mean, you take a risk, with injuries and the injury report and who's active and who's not active, but sometimes you find some good numbers earlier in the week.
Well, my results are not reflecting the good
right.
numbers at the beginning of the week. I'll tell you that right now. The last 2 weeks have been terrible for me. But last week, both of us went 1-2. Season to date, I still have a slight lead over you. This is the longest I've had a lead over you into a season in the many years we've been doing this. I'm 15-9 for the season. You're 11-10-3.
Okay.
Last year I was the king of pushes. I had 5.
Yeah, I got
year.
3. I don't think I had any pushes last year.
No, I had 5. So this is a little different situation. But again, we're picking 3 games each. We do the spreads or the totals, no money lines. And what we're doing, like I said, we're using the BorgataSports.com numbers. And, again, these will change when you get closer to game time. We're using the Tuesday numbers. Always check the odds before you bet. I went last week. Go ahead.
Well, my first game is the Cleveland Browns versus the Cincinnati Bengals, who are favored by 3 points and a total of 46.5 points. Look, both these teams have suffered brutal losses last week. I mean, the Browns lost to the Steelers. The Bengals lost to the Jets. How about that one? And I know the Browns' offense have really been in a slump. I think they only scored about 17 points in their last 3 games. But I think this week is going to be a little different. I think each of these teams are going to push each other to score points. The over is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games the Browns have played against the AFC North, and I can see that happening in this game. I think the total is a little low for this one. It's 46.5 points. So I'm taking the over in this one.
Okay, my first game is the Los Angeles Chargers favored by 2.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under is 51. I went with the Eagles last week, and they destroyed Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were even trying to get a shutout against Detroit.
We even saw Gardner Minshew take a couple snaps. How about that one?
Well, the Eagles come into the game 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. And like I said, they destroy the Lions. However, the Chargers are not the Lions. LA is only 3-2 against the spread coming into the game, but the last 5, they had a tough schedule to play, and they were actually in every single one of those games. They were not, out of any of those games. I also took the history between the two teams just really quickly to see if there was any trends to pick up. There are none. They played each other 3 times in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
But by the way, the over is 3-0, and the Chargers are 2-1 against the spread there. In those games. That doesn't really matter because there's so many. They're separated by so many years. I did notice the Eagles have been involved in a lot of high-scoring games this year.
Yes,
they always are. I mean, they have a really decent offense. It's just that I think with this offense for the Eagles and this offense for the Chargers, we're going to see a lot of points. I actually think the 51 might be a little low.
Wow.
I'm going over 51.
All right, my next game is the Las Vegas Raiders, who are favored by 3 points versus the New York Giants with a total of 47.5 points. I got to tell you, I think the Raiders have actually been playing better since John Gruden left the team. I mean, the Raiders dominated Philadelphia, talked about Philadelphia, and they just got smacked around by the Raiders. And they're a well-rested team, and I think it'll give the Giants' offense headaches this week, the pressure that they're going to put on Danny Dimes. Derek Carr's looking good, too. He threw for 323 yards against the Philadelphia defense, and I think he's going to have a big game against the Giants. I mean, recently, the Raiders do very well in November. Their last 5 games are 4-1 against the spread, and I think that's what's going to happen this week. I think the Giants will keep it close in the first half, but I think Las Vegas will eventually pull away and cover, so I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders might be a good single-game parlay.
I might do that. That's a good idea.
Green Bay Packers favored by 1 at the Kansas City Chiefs. The over/under is 55.5.
By the way, just before you get into your analysis, that's my game too.
Okay, that's your last game?
That's my last game.
Okay, neither teams are playing consistent at all this year. Offenses have been up and down. The under is 5-0 in Green Bay's last 5 games. But Green Bay 7-0 against the spread since losing their first one.
In their last 7 games, I have that too. And by the way, I'll help you out here. They're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 road games.
Yes, yes. And the Chiefs are 1-3 against the spread in their last 4.
They don't cover.
And 2 of those against the spread losses were against playoff caliber teams. I think Green Bay is a playoff caliber team. The way the Chiefs have been playing, it's going to come down to probably a last score of the game, and I'm going with Green Bay and laying the point.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking Green Bay, laying the points. Look, I mean, the Chiefs' defense is terrible. I know they look really good against the Giants Monday night, but they're not very good. And I think one of the safest prop bets recently, and I actually won on Monday night, is that Mahomes was going to throw an interception in the game. He just doesn't look sharp. And, the Giants came pretty close to upsetting the Chiefs. So, like we just said, Kansas City Chiefs do not cover. So, for those reasons, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers.
Hey, those are two good bets. They do not cover. Do against the spread there, and also get the interception prop bet if you can find it. At least one anyway, because he seems to be
he almost threw a couple last Monday night.
He's always had near interceptions. It's just for some reason the ball is sticking.
He's
in the
hitting defenders in the hands.
Yeah.
Well, the first interception was batted up into the air against the Giants game, but it kind of wasn't his fault. But he had a couple other throws that hit defensive hands. So
there's another argument for that tip ball stat.
That is not good.
Last game for me, Denver Broncos at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is favored by 8.5. There's an over-under of 49.5. Simply put, Dallas looks like probably the best or the most complete team in the NFL, I should say. Not the best, but the most complete team. Offense, defense, it's all clicking for them. They just showed they can win with a backup quarterback, but Dak Prescott supposedly is going to be back in time for this game. Denver just traded away one of their best defensive players. So I really think, just simply put, Cowboys lay the points 8.5. Let's recap.
All right, I'm taking the over in the Cleveland Browns Cincinnati Bengals game. I'm taking the over 46.5 points. I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders and laying the 3 points against the New York Giants. And I'm taking the Green Bay Packers, who are laying the 1 point against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I'm doing the over 51, the Chargers-Eagles game. I went with Green Bay and the 1 point spread there. And then Cowboys 8.5 over the Broncos. As always, these picks will be put up on the Turnpike Sports blog after the show is published. Head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com and click on the blog button to see our picks. Feel free to comment on them at the blog or email us at info@turnpikesportsradio.com.
The book report is next, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. If your employer doesn't supply health care coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private health care is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The
Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more, and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Book Report, where we talk about the state and local, state and national sports betting numbers that come out for each month, as well as on a national level. We have deals to talk about. We always talk about legislation, as well as even launches that have happened over the past week. We always do this on a weekly basis, so there are always launches and other things happening. Let's start off right away. This is our first show of November for the Book Report.
Yes.
We're taping this still in October over the weekend here, so it's going to be, there's other stuff happening. But at this time, there are 28 states and Washington, D.C. that now have legal and live sports betting operations. And 19 jurisdictions offer legal mobile wagering. Now, that's going to change because there are reports out there that on Sunday, Halloween, Louisiana may be launching.
Okay.
So by that time, we may see 29 and 20, jurisdictions, 29 legal and live sports betting operations and 20 jurisdictions offering mobile, because Louisiana is a jurisdiction that's going to be offering mobile. Caesars app had already pre-launched. They were taking customers. There's no actual firm launch date for online sports betting.
Okay.
According to the American Gaming Association, now, September is a huge month here with regards to not only the sports books, but also for commercial gaming. And according to the American Gaming Association, Nevada operators reported another $1 billion plus revenue month in September.
Isn't that like 6 or 7 months straight?
Well, according to the AGA, with what just happened in September, the third quarter of 2021 marked a second consecutive quarter of record commercial gaming revenue.
I know, yeah, no.
So that's 6 months right there.
It's absolutely amazing. So everyone was worried. I know Nevada was worried before PASPA was wiped away that, that might lower the numbers for Nevada, but no, it actually increased. It seemed like sports betting has just gotten a boost every time a state gets a new state gets sports betting, and it just seems to increase the numbers in other states because it's in the news again, and it's getting a lot of publicity. So I think when a new state jumps on board, I think it helps out all the existing states as well.
Well, again, commercial gaming revenue is also setting records. They did another third quarter was another high water mark for record revenue in terms of commercial gaming across the country.
Yeah, across the board. I mean, casinos and online casinos, online poker, they're having great months.
Well, we talked about last week New Jersey's $1 billion handle, and that made the news everywhere. And, that, not to be outdone, Nevada came in with their own record for September. It's not a national record, but it's their own high water mark here. We have Nevada having a record September sports betting handle of $786.71 million.
I read that, and it just made New Jersey's numbers look that much more incredible. When you say New Jersey gets $1 billion, and then you see Nevada's record is $786 million, it just absolutely, the numbers are just mind-blowing.
Well, again, it's a matter of, I think New Jersey has a lot more options. Also, population density.
Well, more population, and I know New Jersey has much more betting options. They have much more better promos than Nevada, from what I'm hearing. I know
Nevada can't offer a lot of promos either.
Single game parlays. I was shocked to hear they're not legal in Nevada for the online or in the mobile thing. So hopefully they're going to get that pretty soon. But no, it's just I'm hearing from a lot of bettors in Las Vegas, especially, that one is moving out of the state because he's going to Colorado, because Colorado has more options for bettors.
I wonder when the exodus to Arizona is going to start happening.
See, I'm not too familiar with the menu that Arizona
Arizona's going to have almost like what Colorado has.
Okay, yeah.
So,
but look, I'm sure Nevada is going to evolve into a much more inclusive menu, like single game parlays and things like that. So,
Nevada is still one of the few states that has the in-person registration in place.
Yeah, that's
Illinois
strange.
just passed a bill that they're going to be dropping that. So Nevada is still doing the in-person registration for all their online sites.
They want people through the doors of those casinos,
and rightly so.
And that's great. But you know what? They have to take into account that could affect the numbers.
Well, here's a number that New Jersey has been trying to catch from Nevada here. This is the 19th time Nevada has posted a monthly handle of $500 million or more.
Okay.
New Jersey hit 18 times.
Okay.
So they're getting close. They're neck and neck. I don't know if New Jersey is going to be able to surpass that.
I don't think so. I think that's one of those records you can't break.
No, that's going to be kind of interesting to see that. The Nevada's $54.2 million revenue is the fifth time they broke $50 million or more in revenue for the sports betting industry. That's actually a great number, too.
Well, hey, it's all about the revenue.
Yeah.
We can talk about handle and we can talk about people through the doors, but you know what? If the state's not taking in big monies, sports betting isn't doing its job. So the revenue numbers are always king.
Well, when you look at sports betting for each individual state, you got to look at two things, the hold and the revenue, because those two numbers determine what the state gets in their coffers tax-wise. Everything's based upon the net gaming revenue.
Yeah.
And a lot of places, I remember when I think it was last week when New Jersey announced their $1 billion handle. Some of the news outlets out there were reporting it wrong.
Yeah, no, I saw one news outlet in New Jersey, $1 billion revenue. No, it wasn't $1 billion revenue. It was $1 billion handle. That's how much money is going into the sports books. What happens to that money, with promos and people winning bets, you take all those away, and that's how you get the revenue.
Well, you want to hear a really odd statistic? Nevada and New Jersey currently account for 50% of the September handle.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right now, the two states have $1.798 billion handle combined.
Wow.
And we still have Illinois to come out with their numbers for September. I mean, we'll talk about them.
Illinois is always late. Yeah, Illinois is always late. They come in like a month later than everyone else for their numbers that should have been reported much longer ago. But, that's Illinois. That's how they do it.
New Hampshire also set a state sports betting record in September with an overall handle of $68 million.
Wow, okay.
And also a mobile sports betting handle record of $50 million.
Well, look, that is DraftKings territory there. That's the only sports book operating in New Hampshire, right?
That's it.
DraftKings, that's it.
So, but we have them setting a record. We have Rhode Island also doing a handle record of $41 million.
Look at New England picking up some sports betting records here.
No, and
I'm waiting for the first report from Connecticut, who just started. So it's very interesting.
Here we go with September. 8 of the 17 states that have reported their September numbers. 8 of the 18 states, because I just added a couple into the book report here. 8 of the 18 states reporting their September numbers. We have D.C., Iowa, Indiana, Michigan, New Hampshire, Nevada, New Jersey, and Rhode Island, all set monthly records for handle.
Wow, okay.
2 others, Arkansas and Pennsylvania, had their second highest numbers posted in September.
Boy, September is a good month, huh?
Well, you know why?
Well, all the sports. Football starts up, and I guess everyone is
in just about every state.
Let me tell you something. October is going to be huge too.
Hey, in just about every state, you have football, whether it's college and pro combined or pro separate or however they report it. American football is the top handle getter in almost every state.
Absolutely. But like I said, October is going to be huge too because you have football, you have the World Series, you have hockey, you have basketball. October should be monster. Should be a monster month.
Well, we actually had Colorado report their numbers as well, and another great month for them, $408 million in handle. I want to just say table tennis dropped. I have to admit, it was the first time I've seen table tennis drop out of the top 6.
So, yeah, it was number 6 last month, right?
Yeah, it's now 7th.
Oh, okay.
It came in with an $11 million handle. It's still 2%, almost 3% of the total handle in the state, but it actually came in 7th instead of the normal 6th.
They like their table tennis.
We actually had 2 new states reporting numbers. We had Wyoming.
Okay.
Reported a September handle of $6.2 million, and South Dakota reported a handle of $443,000. South Dakota was only in operation for 22 days.
Okay, it's still pretty good.
And that's only retail. They have you can only do mobile on the retail locations. So it's only in Deadwood.
So what? Yeah, it's only in Deadwood.
The 4 or 5 casinos reporting sports betting.
When you place a bet online, you actually have to be on the property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think a couple other states have that requirement, too.
Yeah,
Mississippi has it now.
I've heard that.
Because I think BetMGM launched in one of the casinos in Mississippi. They're going to be doing it that way, too, for a while. We'll see exactly whether or not when they decide to expand it to, full mobile across the state. But right now, Mississippi is just like South Dakota, where you have to be on the property to do some mobile betting. In terms of launches, we had a very interesting launch in Connecticut, and it's very fun to talk about sportsbook launches in terms of the casinos, whether it's online or retail. We have the first non-casino retail brick-and-mortar sportsbook opened up in Connecticut.
Yeah, I had to look at this again when I read it. It's not a casino. It's not a sports book.
It's a sports bar.
It's a sports
bar.
It's kind of like an OTB for sports betting, right?
Well, yeah.
These locations. Yeah, I love what Connecticut's doing.
Connecticut, it's the first of 15 Play Sugar House locations.
Okay.
They're expecting to do 15 retail brick and mortar Play Sugar House locations throughout the state of Connecticut. The first one here, like we were just talking about, in a place called Sports Haven in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. Sports Haven is a what? Is that a sports bar?
That's the sports bar.
Okay. So when they say they have locations, do they mean kiosks in these things, or they don't have
kiosks,
people taking bets,
and
do they?
screens. They have kiosks and TV screens.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but no, you have to bet through kiosks.
Okay. They don't have people actually taking money or at like windows and things.
Nope. And they're going to have also 2 others soon opening up. Bobby Valentine's. And that's in Stamford, and Windsor Locks will have the other one. It's another Bobby V's restaurant.
Wow!
So 2 Bobby V's are going to be opening up with sports betting.
Okay.
Bobby Valentine was so into the sports betting stuff. He was one of the ones pushing it, and he got it through.
Great! Hey, I can't wait to check it out. I've never been to his restaurant. I've been to Connecticut lots and lots of times, but now I definitely have to go.
Well, the one interesting thing about Connecticut, remember that promise they made when they first passed it? They were going to have sports betting locations within a half hour of every Connecticut resident.
They can probably do it.
They are mapping that out and actually planning on doing it and keeping that promise, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I'm in Connecticut lots of times, so should be fun to do.
So now we have New Hampshire, we have Connecticut, Rhode Island. And at some point, New York's going to come into play. That's going to be statewide mobile too.
Yeah.
And we have poor little Massachusetts surrounded. And again,
they're ridiculous.
Well, they had some comments from one of the bill sponsors of the one that's being pushed through, Senator Eric Lesser.
Okay,
and he said it's still a top tier priority, but I don't know if they're going to make it by the end of the session. They may discuss it.
Yeah, you got years before Massachusetts gets sports betting.
I honestly think you're looking at if it being really talked about, really being pushed in the 2022 legislature, not this year. I think they're done with this year.
Yeah, I don't.
Something weird happens.
Earliest, I think, early 2023. Maybe sports betting.
Maybe.
So who knows?
Well, they have the sports books waiting for them in the 2 casinos there.
We were in the Everett Casino. The what is it called?
Encore Boston
Encore
Harbor.
Boston Harbor. Yeah, no, they have. They're calling it a sports bar now, though, the WinBet Sports Bar. But they have the windows ready. They have the just waiting for the tellers to take your bets. But,
I said this before. Isn't that the saddest thing? That is the saddest thing. Seeing empty tellers in a sports book.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can see it happening. You can see how it's going to happen. You just have to wait till the politicians to get their ducks in a row.
Well, one other launch to really hit, Bet Rivers, launched in Arizona. They are one of the few that have a partnership through a pro sports team, the Arizona Rattlers.
All right.
The professional indoor football team in that state.
Okay.
I don't know if are they AFL or
I have no idea.
I got to look that up because there's so many indoor football leagues now. I mean, the Arena Football League is still around, but I don't know if they're part of that now.
I don't know. I saw one indoor football game, and I don't even know what league it was. I happened to be in the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, and they had the Mohegan Sun Wolves or Connecticut Wolves. I have a T-shirt for them, but it was in the casino. It was a I think
was an IFL team.
That was I don't even know what the hell that was.
Indoor football league.
Okay, well,
so that may be what these guys are.
It was certainly indoor, and it was football. So
BetMGM. Also,
I don't even know if they're still around. By the way,
BetMGM announced the launch of their BetMGM horse racing mobile app.
Great,
which is going to be fun to watch. I mean, really app wise, you only have TwinSpire and even the Naira Bets app. Other than that, you don't really have too many horse racing apps.
Is there TVG? TVG has one.
TVG.
Yeah. I think they're with FanDuel.
They're owned by FanDuel.
Yeah.
So really,
TVG.
This is now adding another dimension to the competition here. I wonder if BetMGM. This isn't done in conjunction with Naira, so I wonder if this is going to be some kind of additional competition to look at the horse racing apps now, because you also have daily racing form.
Yeah. I've never bet on horses through my phone. It's always been live at the track. So, and I don't think New Jersey is legal with horse racing. So
no.
Online. So I can't believe it. You can do everything else gambling wise in New Jersey except horse racing. Betting on horse racing.
Well,
unbelievable.
Before we get to talking about a couple deals, one last note in terms of news wise, we have DraftKings. Remember, DraftKings was making the bid for Entain.
Yeah, that fell apart, huh?
It didn't fall apart. Entain extended the deadline for them to make a more detailed offer so they could see what was going on. At the time of the expiration of that deadline, DraftKings issued a statement saying it will not be pursuing a purchase of or an acquisition of Entain.
Yep.
I shouldn't say purchase, an acquisition of Entain. But they also made a statement in that I don't want to say that gave it a loophole, but it did. They had a statement within their statement saying that they can disregard the not pursuing the acquisition if another party comes in with another offer. They can actually come back to this offer.
When you say they, DraftKings
yes.
can pursue it if someone else comes in with an offer? Okay, I guess.
So basically it was, we're not doing it, but we are still doing it. Mm-hmm. It's still there on the table. It was kind of odd wording that they gave themselves
hedging your bet.
That. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what it's called. Yeah, I think so. A couple of quick deals to hit before we're out of here for the week. Betway made some more noise. Betway's been making deals everywhere, and they have now done 2 NBA deals.
Okay, yeah.
We have one with the Miami Heat. It's a multi-year partnership that puts the brand all over FTX Arena. You're going to be seeing Betway's promotion and signs everywhere, courtside LED signs. They're also going to be on the baseline apron of FTX Arena during the home games of the Miami Heat. Also, one thing that is part of all this, they're going to be doing a free-to-play game, and they were named the preferred free-to-play gaming partner of the Miami Heat. Not the exclusive, but the preferred.
Wow. Okay.
How would you like to be the non-preferred one? The way they phrase these things.
Yeah, right.
This is Betway's second Florida deal, first with an NBA in Florida. The other one was with the Miami Open Tennis Tournament. The other deal Betway did was with the Philadelphia 76ers, which was a really interesting deal. It was kind of all-reaching all over the place. You have Betway signage throughout the Wells Fargo Center during Sixers home games.
Yep.
Signage is going to be on the team bench aprons, courtside, the basket stanchion, holding up the basket.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have the little LED screens on it. That's where they're going to be. They're going to see Betway. I'm assuming they're going to rotate it with other sponsors, but you're going to see Betway there. They're going to be on the scorer's table.
All right.
And also, at the beginning of every Sixers home game, up on the screen, you're going to see a Betway pregame stats graphic that'll be related to the game that night.
Okay.
So they're getting a little creative with some of this stuff. and it's kind of fun to watch all this.
I see a lot of Betway stuff when I'm watching hockey, so I see it all over the ice. So.
Well, it's becoming something, commonplace again.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know we have play up into the Jersey Devil Stadium. We've got a whole bunch of different – we have the Jets and Giants making multiple deals. One last deal to talk about, and this is going to be interesting to watch. It's in Florida. The Seminole Tribe did a deal with 5 different pari-mutuel facilities to help market online sports betting.
Okay.
The pari-mutuels are going to get 60% of the revenue generated by the marketing deals, and this is all still while the lawsuits are still going on.
Florida's a mess.
I don't know what's going to happen there. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens with all these deals going on, because none of them are with the pari-mutuels that are suing them.
Well,
so
I understand that.
I'm assuming the ones are going to drop the. There might be an incentive to drop a lawsuit if they get a better percentage. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But it's Florida. It's weird.
Nothing has happened in Florida yet. No one's launched. They had that October 15th date that kind of fooled everybody, but that was only in the compact. The tribe said that they were never going to launch on October 15th.
Okay.
That was retail. So we'll see what happens there, but that's it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff we didn't have a chance to talk about. Head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com and click on the blog button. You'll see the printed version of the book report. Again, each and every week we do this. Any news stories, info at turnpikesportsradio.com is the way to reach us.
And that'll do for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.